California College of Arts and Crafts.
Sorry, Katie. I forgot to push record. So sorry. Continue. This is Katie, you guys.
Fine. Okay, so Crafts Blast program was incredible. I wish I was still doing as much glass as I did when I was there, and I hope to get back to it at some point. I did leave that school after a while. I just kind of needed a change of scenery, and I eventually graduated at the University of Hawaii in Hilo, and with a fine arts degree. So that's my background for art academically. I have remained an artist the entire time, but being a Navy spouse and moving all the time has made glass blowing quite challenging, even ceramics. And it took me a long time to find painting. I always enjoyed painting and drawing, but I have always found myself more tactile and enjoyed those kinds of arts. But eventually I moved to photography for a long time, and then I still do a lot of photography, and now I'm doing plein air painting. So this is 3 years. I do studio painting and plein air painting, and I really feel like I have been so blessed to fall into my sort of golden path. I think that this is it, and I don't know why it took me so long to find it, but that was my approach to art. Also, I raised 2 very lovely boys in the meantime. I have a 13-year-old and 14-year-old boy. Also, I am excited to meet you all because we lived in Bremerton as one of our duty stations, and we bought a home there. And so it's very nice to be in talking with all of you. And I think we'll probably be moving back from Italy to Bremerton in the next 2 years. So I look forward to coming to the conferences and meeting you all. Married to a military captain, and we've lived in lots of places. We've lived in San Diego twice, Monterey, Hawaii, Rota, Spain, Coronado, and now Naples, Italy. And so I have a lot of inspiration. I would say we've been very lucky with our duty stations. So with that background said, and my introduction done, I would like to turn it over to my video. This video explains a bit about now and I'll explain how that can relate to students at the end of the video. So it's about 15 minutes, I think, so bear with me. Maybe the connection will be better. All right, Cheyenne.
Cheyenne, I don't know if the video is playing just on your computer or if you are having some technical difficulties, but can we see it too? Haha. Or Cheyenne, if you put the link in the chat and I can share it from here. Ah, I see. Okay. It's this connection over to Italy that maybe oh, hold on. Stop. Oh, I love the music. You might not be able to hear it fully yet, but give me 1 second and let me share. do it this way. All right, can you see my screen? Yes? Can you hear my music? Oh, no.
We started to.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we heard it a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
Okay, thank you.
Presentation. First, I choose a scene, take a picture, set up all, and then I convert the photo to black and white so I can identify the values.
Mhm.
Here's my black and white. So I have an example of a picture of some lemons, and I change it from a color photo to a black and white so that I can identify the darks, lights, and mid-ranges, also known as the values. There's a value chart, and you can start from light at 1 and move all the way up. I sometimes just choose the ones I see. So in this instance, I'm going to say, these are my values, and I'm going to do value mapping. This is the lemons again, and this was someone else's version of value mapping that I found very helpful. After values, you can consider going into color. Here's my value map of the town that I'm going to paint. So I just use those 4 values. So keep it simple when I'm doing plein air. This is a Raymar Belgian linen on hardwood board, and I have it on an Edge Pro. This is my brushes and lavender oil to thin the paint. I use a wet panel or wet canvas folder. It's got railings in there so that the paintings don't touch. I like to use transparent red oxide paint for my underpainting. I think it adds warmth to the underside of the painting. Also, it takes away the glaring white, which can be a little intimidating. I use an oil primed linen. I like oil primed as opposed to acrylic primed because oil allows you to wipe away. And I do a lot of that, especially when I'm trying to think in terms of positive and negative painting. Sometimes it's just as important what you take away as what you add. So I like to be able to get in there with my shop towel and remove what I can. These towels are great because they don't leave a lot of lint. Another towel that works is a Viva, or you can use old shirt, cotton shirt or something, but that might have more lint. Like I was saying before, this is an Edge Pro plein air setup. I have it on a Manfrotto tripod. It's bouncing around a little bit, so I didn't tighten it enough, but it shouldn't do that. It has little metal attachments to the top that I can adjust, and it holds in my Belgian linen panel quite nicely and folds up like a laptop, and I just remove it from the tripod. I have a very messy palette. I wish I was a more organized person, but I'm not, and this is my process at this point. I'm sitting on a small balcony, and I'm looking at the view that I have in the split screen. I'm sorry that I can't show it to you. It is too hard to get the iPhone to be able to catch the view and me painting because I'm on a very narrow balcony. I'm actually at a tomato sauce making party or workshop at a family's house in a small town in Italy. And my husband is taking the workshop. I can hear everyone downstairs. They're just right below me. And so I can see and hear what they're doing. And in between some of these shots, they're feeding me amazing Italian food and wine. So this painting is good, but it definitely gets a little sloppy towards the end, as I do. But nevertheless, I go out to paint to try and capture some of the smells and the sounds and the way the atmosphere feels. And I don't always try and do plein air to be perfect. I take it back to my studio so that I can try and remember those things with my painting. I will show you back at the studio after this. So this is me towards the end. It's starting to rain. So it was good that I had this little overhang. Some of these plein air setups have umbrellas, and I do recommend that. So here's the finished painting. Like I said, this is not perfect. I do wish I was able to get it to recess into space a little bit more. But I go back to the studio. That is my Procreate app that I am drawing in. I use my Apple iPad and my Apple Pencil, and I trace my photo. Then I project it onto a larger Belgian linen hardwood Raymar canvas. I like those. Here it is. I've penciled it in, and then I spray fixative over the top so that when I paint on it, it doesn't get muddy. And I've got my setup there. I have my plein air painting up on top so I can reference that. I have it on my iPad Pro, and these are the values that I've determined that are my lightest lights to my darkest darks. So I start there, try and fill in some of my values. This is just a makeshift palette. I just use a piece of plastic over a large clipboard. I'm using Gamsol to thin my paint this time. I'm not using the spike oil or the lavender oil that I brought. I just have a system that I use the lavender oil when I'm on the go. So I'm adding in my darker values and wiping away again, which is nice with these panels. Let's see, that's my studio at our house in Italy. We live on an American Navy base. And I am very fortunate that I have my own room to work in. I do a lot of plein air painting now that we live in Italy. In fact, this weekend, I'm staying at a hotel and I'm doing a personal resiliency training through the military. It's a free program. And I signed up for it. So in the meantime, during the breaks, I might be able to paint Vesuvius and the harbor from the hotel that I will be staying at here in a couple minutes. I'm talking to you on Friday on this video, and I will be showing this video to you tomorrow on Saturday. That's the time difference. Now I'm blocking in some of the buildings. I'm trying to have, okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I am trying to have some of the composition be that S shape. So I did block in the sides of the painting more where I took out some of the buildings. So I want the viewer's eye to move through the painting, starting at the top with the sky once I put that in, and then curving through that S and hopefully back around and back up through the painting if I can figure that out. But I am trying to be conscious of the composition of the painting and moving the eye throughout. Also, it's my understanding that you do want paintings to have 2/3 and 1/3, either 1/3 light, 2/3 dark, or vice versa, in order to keep things interesting. So I'm putting my lights in, but as I paint this, I try and be conscious of that idea. I don't know if it quite worked in this painting, but that's something that I have learned along the way, trying to include in the paintings. Also, in terms of talking about value is best described as value does all the work, color gets all the credit. Value is the single most important element of painting, more important than color, line, perspective, or anything else. The Impressionists were well aware of this and often substituted wildly different colors that are the same value. They got their reputations by playing fast and loose with color, which was scandalous to the realist painters of their time. If you look at Monet's water lilies, for example, you will see many colors not found in natural water lilies, like blues, purples, reds, etc. Okay, so here I am with color blocked in, and I would like to tell you that this was the finished piece, but I'm still working on it. So this is just me getting it to the point where it's at right now. And I'll work on it some more eventually, but here is my plein air practice to my almost finished studio piece. At the end of this video, I have a few of the pictures of my other plein air paintings. Some were from Slovenia when we were there for our kids' swim camp, and some are from around Italy. And at the very end, I have my banner. I got the great award of having my art put into a banner in Coronado, and I have a little drone footage of that because it is right next to the Hotel Del, and I think that is pretty spectacular. So thank you for listening, and just hang on for these last pictures here. And at the end of the drone footage is the end of the video, and we will talk about putting together a plein air kit for students. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. So Katie, it seems got briefly disconnected from the call. She is outside. There's a thunderstorm apparently rolling through, but she will be back here in a minute or so. I wonder if Becky can tell us a little more about the fall conference while she gets back in.
I sure can, but I am still, can you guys still see these pictures that are popping up of her painting?
Can.
I am so, oh, there's the banner that she's talking about. How cool. Yeah, I can talk about the fall conference. Do we have, we need some painting workshops. So if any of you guys are like, hey, this is my speed and I know all this and I didn't learn anything new from this conversation, then you know what? You should come present at the fall conference. I can make it easy for you. I can just give you a room and I can give you people and you can talk to them. It's super easy. I also think maybe we could spend some time until we get Katie back. Maybe there's some questions that we put in the chat during the video that maybe some of us could field. I saw there was one question, Linda Card, welcome. She said, what type of red transparent oil paint, again, is used for the underpainting? And Barb, you said it was red oxide.
Yeah, I wrote that down as soon as she said it.
Anybody have like a specific technique of using red oxide that they'd like to share? Or anybody use red oxide? Andy, I know you're a painter. Do you use red oxide in your underpainting?
Well, is my video, am I
Yeah,
unmuted?
we can
Okay,
see you
good.
and
Okay.
hear you.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. I usually, yeah, do that even when I'm painting with acrylics, just kind of stain it. And a lot of portrait artists will do that too, just so take away the intimidation of like the white canvas. Yeah, so, or like a kind of like a neutral color, but yeah, that is something when I was taking like formal painting classes at Maryland Institute a long time ago. That's what one of my painting professors had us use. I want to say I really love, and someone else mentioned it in the chat. She said that quote, value does all the work, color gets all the credit. I just love that. And that spoke to me. I'm like, that makes perfect sense. So anyway, I think I might have to make a sign to put in my art room in the painting.
Yeah, I went t-shirt actually.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in if anyone has any great lessons on more high school advanced students with value. Anything that anyone wants to share on that. I've taught high school before, but that was 14 years ago. I've been in the primary art land, and now I get to teach high school drawing and painting. So I'm revisiting all these things, and that's why I'm here today, just to kind of refreshen that part of my brain. So anyway, I love that quote.
I think Katie's back. Is she back? I let her in.
She's trying to join.
Oh,
I would
okay.
say to kind of bounce off the red oxide offer, and then we can also share lessons. I saw the coolest thing on a group that they were taking old tea bags, just the bags, and then opening them up, and they already have kind of that stain on the bags, and then the students were then using that stain to then develop on top of that. So the idea of not starting with white paper, and I thought that was a way to use my old tea bag. So I thought that was really cool. And I'd love Katie, to hear all these wonderful aha moments, and that I'm sure we're going to have to go back and be like, value does all the work, color gets the credit, like that. And then watching her add just all the values in, I was just like, oh, maybe I could paint now. Yeah, like I get, like maybe that was the piece, because I start with color and I'm like green, blue, and I'm just doing it all wrong.
Everyone, Katie just called me, and she is terribly sorry. She's been apologizing profusely that the connection's not working. She promised to follow up with a few different videos answering the questions. We're going to make sure she gets all of this information. She's going to keep trying though, but we will follow up with lots and lots of information and videos too.
Perfect. I mean, not perfect, but we're flexible people. We understand. I'm just kind of going through the questions real quick to make sure that we, oh, I like the question from Shannon. Like, question to the group, how many teachers are currently doing painting outside with their students? I took my students outside to do a little bit of photography, but that was it. Shannon, are you taking your students out?
Well, of course, right. We're in Washington and where we are. So you have to either do it now or you have to do it in spring at the end. And so then I have to kind of like plan when I'm going to do my painting. So second semester, I tend to do it because it's nicer and it's the end of the year and people are kind of losing their cool. So we go outside because my studio has an outside little courtyard where I can do that. And then if I get permission, we can go across the street to the park and then, paint what we see. It's just the visuals are kind of like, okay, here's another tree. Here's another tree. Here's the park, which is okay. I mean, the kids don't mind, you know what I'm saying? But I would love to do, because I haven't done it. And I would love to hear like how they get the materials. Like, cause I'm like, here's your brush and you're gonna have to take a little medicine bottle with the water. And here's, like a thing of paints that you're going to share with 2 or 3 people and you're going to sit next to them and you're going to paint. And then we don't get a lot, like we kind of socialize a little too much. but I'd love to put it together with like that urban art one and like do pictures of my paintings of my school. And so I just want to know, like other people probably do it, like, you know, I don't know. Have you had success like taking a picture of something and having people do that? I don't really call that en plein air. I don't know. I just wanted to see what other people's experiences are. Cheyenne has her hand up that I can see. I can't see everybody, but
Hey, I've done it both ways where they take the pictures and bring it back in, but my favorite and more authentic plein air experience was taking watercolors because they already come in those perfect little containers. And then I have a set of those watercolor paintbrushes that holds the water in, and that's been perfect. Easy to transport, clean up super easy, and it's fairly inexpensive to take that out with the kids. So if you can do that.
like these, like, are you talking about these guys? Like
They're the paintbrush, they have like a clear little
this
tube.
one?
color.
Like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, does it have the water at the end that you fill it up with?
Well, they're actually like already got colors in them. Some of them have water in them, but then you have to add the watercolor to them. So do you just give them like a set of primary colors? Like
They-
these guys? So you just set up like, you set
Right.
set up these and make primaries, or how do you do it?
So they each have their own paintbrush that has the water in it, and then they have their own set of watercolors. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Shannon. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to buy so many of these because I need one for every color. And then someone's like, no, it's a brush. You clean it off and you dip it in another color. One question I have back for her, and it's starting to spark me on, Barb's gonna laugh, but why do I keep broken tripods? Well, she just told me why I keep broken tripods, and maybe why your photography teacher in your building keeps broken tripods is because there's got to be a use. So that like laptop stand or whatever she had there that then she attached to the top of a tripod. I think it's like like making sure the kids are comfortable outside too. Like not all like, oh, just put it on your lap, or make sure they have the board and something to set it on, you know, try to set up the space so they're comfortable while they're out there. And so it's not awkward. Barb, what were you going to show us? You're muted though.
I have one of these brushes. You actually unscrew the lid and you fill it with water. And then they come in different size brushes. And then these little, like that, Shan. So you can just change the color. Anyway, those are nice water
So
brushes.
the brand I got for a birthday present a couple years ago was Chrome Tech, and I've used those, but I haven't bought them for my kids because I'm just kind of frugal and mean and don't let other people have fun things in my classroom. No, because I haven't looked into how much it would cost. So do you have a brand that you really like?
This is a Pentel.
Pentown.
Well, and just to put a plug in for one of our previous virtual workshop participants, a couple months ago, we had Marie from Art Tools, or she puts the tiny watercolor sets together. And if you come to the fall conference, there will be a coupon for buying one of those palettes in your swag bag, which I will not give to you unless you come. But she sells the kind of the kits to do the plein air stuff, and she focused in her workshop, which is recorded, and I hope it up. If not, I'll get up. It watercolor and pen and the quickness. Oh my gosh! Look, I see Natalia. I see Katie.
I apologize. So I guess the room's lost Wi-Fi, but then I realized maybe just my phone's cellular. So I had to reconfigure. So I'm back to you now, and I hope that the video played through for me. It was all broken, so it was okay. Okay, I did see some questions come through, and I have all the answers for you. I use lavender oil. Mine's kind of dirty because I do clean my brushes kind of on the go with this. I use this to thin my paint and also to keep the paint open a little bit longer. It's my understanding that it keeps paint wet longer. I also use Gamsol. So the Gamsol I use at home. I just happen to have this cute bottle and I think it's fun. So I take it with me and I like the smell. I put it in a bag. This is like a waterproof bag. I also put all of my spent towels that I'm always wiping the paint off in between. I should be always wiping the paint off in between laying down colors, and so that I don't muddy up my paintings. So this is the little on the go thing I have, and I can attach this to the bottom of my tripod if it's open even, and I can use it as a trash bag and a carrier for my wet paints. I use Gamblin. I use Gamblin red earth oxide as an underpainting. A lot of people use that color because it does give warmth to a painting underneath, and like I was saying in the video, it also it stops the intimidation factor. Once you do put a color on there, it's not some white canvas staring back from you. So sometimes I'll just put my color down. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just start with a white canvas and then go in with my tonal values, and I'll try to wipe away my lights. I find it works really well for me to stay loose at the beginning of the painting. I use my towels and my lavender oil to pull out paint. On this one, I would paint darker in order to do that. But if I had just a regular white canvas, I could go in with those. Some people do underpaintings, some people don't. Some people do it with really bright colors. So you might have hot pink and blue as just different swaths of color underneath. And when they paint, they leave little breaks in the paint so that you can see those dynamic colors coming through. And also some people will paint the contrasting color or the, what's it called on the other side of the color wheel?
Complementary.
Complementary.
Thank you. Some people will paint the complementary color underneath. So say I'm going to do the ocean. So they might paint red or hot pink or something so that color kind of vibrates underneath. And I really like those paintings. I feel like I'm drawn to those. So I might start doing some of those too. But I do like the real neutral, warm underpainting too. So I'm really experimenting with my underpaintings. But I keep coming back to the wiping away process for me. It's really helpful because before I'm even in brushes, I'm just saying, okay, like on that painting, there's an S here. I'm just gonna wipe away that S and now I'm halfway there. I can kind of see my composition, or,
Can
just-
you explain what you mean by S?
Okay, so in that painting that I was doing, the town has a hillside and it curves around. You might not be able to tell by my painting, but I was trying to get there. Hopefully I still will. So I wanted the whites to bring your eye through the painting. And I was trying to add some more color so that you would wrap around. So instead of having your eye just leave the painting with the color, if I just take a white streak and just drive it off the painting, your eye is just going to follow that. So I want you to sort of weave through the painting. Also, what I was talking about with the 1/3, 2/3, that's another way to keep the viewer interested. It's to have 1/3 lighter colors and 2/3 darks, or vice versa, but you never want to have it be completely equal. So these are just some composition tricks to keep the viewers engaged. So I didn't see any of the other questions, but I can go back and write to you. I have been studying a lot online, truthfully. Oh, making a Z. Yeah, perfect. I have been studying a lot online. I have been trying to do a video a day so that I can get better. I'd like to get better quickly. I'd like to learn good habits from the beginning. For me, that's important. And I really enjoy Eric Rhodes. Thank you, Shannon. I really enjoy Eric Rhodes. It's called Art School Live. He used to do conferences that were live conferences, and then when everything shut down, he started having YouTube videos or videos like this where he's talking to an artist and then they do an example. So and there are some really, really high-end artists on there, and a lot of them are great teachers. So I recommend that. So something that, let's see, something that I know that teachers can use, because I'm a teacher too. I used to teach for morale and welfare, the art students there. I taught adults and kids. And so I tried to think, what would I want to learn if I were to ask someone how to teach plein air to kids? I know for me, it was always a challenge to have the right supplies, because no one's going to go out and buy a $400 plein air kit for a bunch of kids initially, maybe down the road, but initially that's a little bit silly. So I had a couple of ideas that I was just going to show you what I would do for students. And this is how I started too. We used to live in Coronado and we lived next to the ocean. So I would take my big clipboard and I would put it in one of the little red rocket trolleys. And I would put my canvas on and I would use the clips, or I would use tape. And then I would use parchment paper. Now you don't need anything this big for kids. Some classrooms are going to have these. So that's why I thought I would just bring this to talk about. But also it's just as easy to use a smaller clipboard. So you can always have the kids use the clipboard and just the canvas and put that in their lap. Of course, you're going to use an apron or whatnot. And then parchment paper. Now this is for acrylics you can use this for, or this is for oils. Oils are going to be a little trickier and more expensive, but I do think they're worth it for your students, because some kids are going to fall in love with them. And that will be a real to the moon for them. I like acrylics too, but I think there's something very rich about oils, and I really wish someone had given them to me when I was a kid. I always had watercolors and I always had acrylics, but I'm sad that I didn't get oils earlier. I'm glad I found them now. Anyhow, so cut your parchment and then you're going to add it to your clipboard.
Katie,
But-
are we setting up with you right now?
Well, you absolutely can. So I don't know how many people brought or bought. I'm just giving you some options. So absolutely set up with me if you would like. I'm not sure how many people have it. So the other option, and I think this one's a really good one for students for plein air, is a pizza box. So you can get a pizza box and you can get a piece of cardboard and you can get your parchment paper, your tape, or your clippies. These are always good. You're welcome. I know that this is always, it's the trickiest part is just getting out there and doing it. So say you're doing acrylics, you're gonna need to have water. Just use just the plastic plates, small plastic plates, if you don't wanna do this. Acrylics might be a little juicier. Oils tend to stay. But also, if you put it on this pizza box and you put it inside this pizza box and you put a piece of tape, or I like the command strips. I use the command strips a lot. I buy them from Amazon and I buy a pack of 100 because they're just easy to pull that one piece of tape off. And I use it also for my watercolors, and I have little tins that are just from like Christmas toffee tins. I keep those, and then I put the little palette watercolors on my command strips so that I can take them with me too. So you can put those little watercolors in Tupperware or anything like that that has a lid so you don't get too messy. But I do like those little, oh, they have a name. Just the little square watercolors. Well, this tape is not going to work with me, but that's okay. I don't need it. So now I have a palette and an easel. And the kids can hold this. You can put the tape or the command strips on here. And then you can take your, I just buy these little ones. I'm a linen gal. I really like it. I like the small weave of linen. I feel like cotton works against me. And I wish I had also, like the oil painting, had a chance to use linen, because somebody asked me to do a painting for them the other day, and she wanted a certain size. So I went to our local store that's on base where we live. It's a military base. And I bought the right size, but I bought cotton. And even if I gessoed over it again, I still had these large holes where the weave was just too large for my taste. And I really did not like the outcome. I painted the whole thing, the Eiffel Tower. But because that was a detailed piece of architecture, I couldn't get those lines right. It just looked choppy. So that's my feeling about linen, the difference between linen and these aren't that expensive. This is a Centurion linen panel. And I buy these for my plein air. You can buy them on Amazon. These aren't hard to get. You don't need to go to an art store. They come in giant packs. This is a nice size. Even for kids, I would even have it half of this. Yes, Centurion linen panel. Okay, so back to my box. But I think you can also even take your box and fold it. And I'm sorry that I didn't ask you guys to get a pizza box, but I was trying to just sort of give you ideas, right? Now I got my pizza box. I can get my masking tape or whatnot. Got my palette. Now you need some brushes. And if you do oil paint, you do need to have some kind of a Gamsol. The teacher should probably, yeah, exactly. The teacher should probably be in charge of that. Now they have odorless mineral spirits is what, the Gamsol is the name of the manufacturer. They have, I think most people do go with that, but I would have that in a container. I didn't bring my container, but there's these little metal containers with a lid, and I can send you that information. So that's the one thing I wouldn't have students using, but you don't need it all the time. I mean, that's just to clean the brushes, and eventually teachers can clean the brushes, but they will need paper towels in between. But if you're using acrylic, then of course you have water, and same with watercolors. And so this is my feeling about plein air painting, and I'm even doing it today, or while I'm here. You can see mine in the background. I worked on this for a couple of hours today. It's not fabulous. This is a large painting. It may not ever be fabulous, and I'm fine with that. This was my way of trying to learn about the area, and I think for my plein air artwork, I'm not going to worry about being perfect. I'm just going to try and really get the environment and get the, I want to capture something about what I'm seeing, and I don't want to get too finite with it. So as long as I can like just, really, what did I say earlier, Cheyenne? It was better. It's kind of
I
stomach.
think you're talking about the essence of the environment.
Yeah.
Catching-
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, so yeah, I was talking about this. I was showing Cheyenne that last night there was another storm that came through, and it was a lightning storm. And here's my painting. And this painting right now it's like as wet as cream cheese. So, but it is not perfect. It was also in the dark. I couldn't see my palette at all. And I didn't care. I just wanted to see if I could kind of match the colors to what I was seeing, even though I really couldn't see the colors. And also, I've never painted a lightning storm before. So sometimes it would light up and then I would think thank you. I would think I would need purple. So I'd add purple and then it'd be dark again. And I would go, oh, well, I guess it needs to be black. And again, I couldn't even see it. But I don't care. This for me, really, there's something about it that it was that night. It did capture something for me. So now my attempt is to try and figure out what it captured. Was the color? What did I catch there? And what can I use in my next paintings to give my paintings life? So I don't want to just sit in my studio, which I do all the time anyways, but I want to use the opportunity when I'm out to let it sort of saturate within me, within the painting, and not get too perfect with it and have expectations of what's going to happen. And I do find that there will be at least one thing that I can glean from it in a studio painting later, or maybe not. Maybe, it was not my day, but most of the time I do have luck. I can say, well, gee, that blue that was in my Slovenia painting, it was really pretty close. So now when I do paint water, I can say, well, let's look back, let's reference that. For me, it's better than finding it in a book or a photograph or a TV. And, I can, as soon as I look at those paintings, I can be right back there. But I think being outdoors and painting is really a wonderful time for anyone at any age. And I would highly recommend taking students out if you can, and, sitting under a tree and letting them paint and seeing how that goes. Maybe a few at a time, 5 at a time with your pizza boxes. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, so if you don't have any questions, or you can interrupt me if you do. The other thing that I recommend doing for value studies, because value is so important to painting, like the video said on there, that really painting, color gets all the credit and value does all the work. And I found that to be true. And I'm trying to learn that in my studio practice right now, how to identify values. And so that value mapping was something that somebody else did. The lemons was someone else's, but I found it relevant to how to approach painting. And so I'm trying to use it in plein air. I don't know that I always have it nailed down, but I do try to map my paintings in plein air the same way now that I've seen that. And I think that's a lesson that can be taught to kids. I think that to say, okay, hey guys, here's this, even if you just did an indoor studio still life, right? You just have, fruit, fine, or flowers. And you put that in front of the kids and then take a picture, print that picture out or put it on the overhead projector in black and white, and talk about values, talk about the ways the colors are different. And so here's that value chart. Again, I'm sure you all have them. They're, just as normal to an art room as the color charts, but there's lots of ways to get here. So I like to use Prismacolors and Sharpies, a couple varieties. I don't always value chart the entire painting. So like you saw in mine, I had a 2 here and a 3 here and a 4. I'm not that particular. I'm just trying to find a mid-tone, you know, my light, my darkest dark. And so I'll go in sometimes and do just a little studio or a little thumbnail. So you can just take one of these index cards, and before you start, do the same thing that we were talking about with the S or the Z. And just, so say it's your plein air painting, or it's your still life with the flowers. We want to identify where the darkest part is. And so your different value ranges. And this is going to give the painting form, or the picture form. Before you know it, after you've done that from your picture to your thumbnail, you're going to be able to say, wow, that's 3-dimensional looking. And that's just through those values. Even if you just choose 3 or 4, I think 4 are good for students probably. And that's why I showed that lemon painting, because before they painted, they took that black and white photo, they went in and they determined where their darkest darks were. Those are 4s, you know, your mid-range, etc. And then drew that out. And then went back in with 4 colors. Or I mean, not colors, 4 tones.
Values.
Value. Yeah. And we're able to create that. And you can also show how some artists, you know, especially I think kids like the animal paintings where the dogs are blue, you know, like Blue Dog, you know, that art gallery, or this doesn't make any sense, but yet you can still tell that it's a blue dog. That's values at work, not necessarily color. I mean, I've seen paintings of people who are done in, you know, tons of different colors, or even little pictures, but because those pictures are the right values, it creates the roadmap. It's the structure. And I between composition and what's the word when you do the train tracks? Sorry, perspective, composition, perspective, and values can really get a long way on getting kids ahead of the game with painting and outdoor painting.
Can I just give you a shout out for like thinking, talking, and working at the same time? Because we all have to struggle with that, and you are doing phenomenally.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, yeah, that's my gig. I can also explain just some of the other things I have. I got this just this little painting pack in Florence. I have to brag. Zeki, maybe that's not the right word, but I am saying this because I have found brushes that I really like. This is a very dirty one, but it's in use right now. This is a rosemary brush. And for people who, I met someone today who said, I got a packet of brushes. And I'm so excited, but I have no idea what any of them mean. And Rosemary Arts does a YouTube video just on brushes that they sell. So you can just go to their channel and they'll say, these are the long ivory combers, or these are the long cat tongue things. And then they'll say what it's for and why you would use that as opposed to a sable or, you know, some hog hair bristle brush that you're gonna really get into your initial underpainting with. So I recommend those videos. I found them very helpful. And also something that I forgot to add is fat over lean is something that is talked about a lot with oil painting, and I never really understood what that was. But I do now, as I've made so many messes. When you do oil painting, especially alla prima, which is like wet into wet, it's best to start very thin. So my first initial paintings, I try and keep just as a wash, so that when I wipe away with my towel, I mean, I really start painting with the towel first before I even go in with brushes. But if you put some light paint on with your, I use the lavender oil, a solvent, to make the thin out the paint. Then you can go back in, and especially with Gamsol, that actually helps dry the paint pretty quickly. So you can go back in, not right away. I mean, it's still somewhat wet, but then you can go back in with maybe a white on top or other colors and not have it smear too much. But the reason that you do fat over lean is because you want to build up. You don't want to start with the cream cheese first and then have to go back into that. So that's something that you can reference with kids too. It's important to start very lean with the oil paints. And have baby wipes if they're out and out on the scene painting, because those are very helpful for everything. Yeah, I always have them in my bag because I just touched that painting and now it'll be in my hair soon.
I noticed in the video you had only one glove on. Was there a reason for only one glove?
Yeah, I don't like gloves at all. I don't like the latex at all. So I do wear one glove, and in the studio, a lot of times I wear one glove that's a leather glove. That's just a totally spent leather glove. So like ones you would wear to a ball or something. And I use it because that's where I'm cleaning my brush off. So I'll be painting and then cleaning and then painting. Probably should wear two gloves. These are heavy chemicals. I mean, these cadmiums, and you don't want to be having them in your body, in your bloodstream. Also, they're just a pain. They just really do spread because it's oils. As soon as you get that in your hair, it's going to be in your hair. I can't even tell you how many outfits I've wrecked because it really doesn't come out. So that is important with kids too. Like definitely, even if it's got to be the trash bag thing or whatever, where you cut the holes, and because it will destroy clothes, the oil paints will. But yeah, that's why I use the one glove, and preferably a beautiful glove. But I enjoy doing both plein air and studio painting, and I'm glad that I have the capacity, the ability to travel here and do these paintings, and trying to take every advantage I can. Like we go for a winery tour, I'll say, I'll go, but I don't want to do the winery tour part. I'll just park myself for an hour or two. And even if I'm just getting a quick paint in there, it doesn't have to be great. So yeah, definitely important to protect your health, which really you should have two gloves on. Sometimes I do, but and also, go ahead.
Sorry, and do you have a suggestion for what age group you think we could start oil painting with?
I think you'll know the students who are in middle school who probably are ready. I wouldn't do it in elementary school yet. The oil paints are a little expensive too, so I don't know, with budgets, it's something that you have to consider. But if you can do it, it really is so cool. It really is. It's like for me, it's giving good ingredients. If you can do a linen and an oil paint, just so they can experience that, because I really wish as an artist my whole life that someone had given them to me in that way, where I wasn't so frustrated with like, why why is this so hard? Well, because this brush is terrible. And this canvas is awful. And this paint is old and no good. You know, I just didn't have, you know, what I probably would have liked to have had. And what, you know, ultimately this is about what, you know, set the bar as high as you can and then try and meet where you can for the students, right? So when I had students in my class in Spain, I did acrylics because that's what I could afford. And, you know, I tried to do the best I could with those things. I taught the paint and sips. It was always acrylics. And in those, when I used acrylics, I just used those little round, gosh, having a hard time with my words today. Little round paint. It's just like a paper, I mean, a plastic plate, but it's got the little indents like for eggs. So you use those.
Little
Sure.
round
That's-
palette.
Yeah, they're just little pallets that we purchase for them, or they have like little, you can also purchase the flat ones that have just indentations that are like a styrofoam rectangle. Have you guys seen those too?
Yes, exactly. I would, if you have high school students, I would definitely say some of those high school students, I think you're gonna know which ones are really interested in. Those are the ones that I would give the materials that they might be interested in. I think at that point you can start segmenting off who's gonna get value out of this. You know, yes. Go ahead.
That's Shannon. So there was a teacher a long time ago, I can't remember when, but it was at a workshop in person. So it had to be obviously over 3 years ago. She had this brilliant thing that like I can't always provide the best thing. I'm never gonna be able to do that, right? I mean, I'm not gonna do oils. I know it. I'm not in my level, not where I'm at. But
Right.
what she did was she cut at the, like sometime in the summer, because you know, teachers are crazy. I was impressed by this, but I haven't done it. She did like old paper bags, like the plastic you just said, the Reynolds, you know, like she did foil.
Yeah.
She did any papers that she had at the end of the year that, you know, she just had enough of. She made like a little booklet of different kinds of papers. And then she had the kids at the beginning of the year, whatever materials, like if she was going, here's your oil pastels, here's your acrylics, here's your watercolors, here's your pencils, here's your pens you're going to be able to use in my class, try them out on every single kind of paper and see which one you like. And at least that has them thinking, hey, some of these are really crap and some of these are really great. And some of these are kind of in the middle and I'm going to have to work with what I have at the time I have it. So like literally like old paper, you know, from books, and like she just had a whole series, and she had a thick one. It was like maybe 12 different papers that they might be able to get during the year. And I thought that was kind of, you don't have to necessarily give them the best, the worst, or whatever, but just having them know to be mindful of choosing the right paper, choosing the right implement. Those are choices you have as an artist. Those are your design principles, and it will make a difference. I think that was the key thing I thought that was cool about that. Anyway.
Oh, do. I still am like that. I mean, like this one, I found an old frame in Italy and it just had, it had no back. So I took it to the framer and asked him to make a back, and that was it. I didn't have, you know, just make a back. And then I just used Yes Paste and, you know, troweled this. And this is just canvas. This is cotton canvas. I mean, I'm not saying I don't use it. I prefer linen. I also prefer cashmere, but I don't get to wear it all the time. So, you know, we all have our things, but so yeah, I bought it in a giant roll with Cheyenne at an art store in Italy. And but I feel exactly the same way. I mean, with students, and you know, they may find that they like painting on this rougher surface or whatnot. So I too am all about experimentation and keeping everything and giving all the options. So that's why, you know, just like, you know, with the clipboards, this might work for you. That other clipboard might be overwhelming, or this big thing to carry might be overwhelming. So, you know, but the idea is just to do it. So Yeah.
I super loved the idea of turning the pizza box into an easel. I thought that was super brilliant, because I've always wondered, because I can't pay for, or we couldn't afford, it wasn't in the budget to get easels for every student, but
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, so that. Also, it saves the mess. When some paint rolls out, it's got the sides. You put that right in your lap. You can line the whole bottom with whatever kind of paper too. Yeah, pizza boxes are portable. And I'm sorry, I'm only getting little clips because this is on my phone, of course. So when people are commenting, stop me if I'm not answering. But also, I use these Raymar carriers, but these are expensive. You know, this is for someone who's really invested in it, and they have the railings so I can do multiple paintings. But your students aren't going to do multiple paintings in one sitting. This is more for someone like me who might be at a hotel for a week and do multiple paintings. But a pizza box with a piece of tape taped to the bottom of your canvas, and now you can stack all these and put them in your car or your, back in your little trolley and go back from the playground. And these aren't going to get wrecked by having a painting on top of a painting.
and we have a question in the chat that says, what are some options for paintbrushes other than rosemary?
Oh yeah, plenty. I mean, I've used all the above with the students that I've had, but the Utrecht has ones. These ones are ISPE. I guess the question is you're asking about for students, probably. So I'll just go ahead and answer that. I'm using very inexpensive brushes too. I actually like inexpensive brushes because I don't always get around to cleaning them. So it's not a big loss if I really kind of blow it. And also with the smaller ones in oil paints, I mean, these really fine tip ones, they don't last very long. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of money on that. So these are an Italian brand, Centrello, and they cost me $1 or something like that. Maybe I'm lucky because I live here and I can get these brands, but I think they're everywhere, these little ones. And Blick has tons of them. I also really like these clay tools that you use for ceramics. They have the little rubber ends. I use these a lot, like when I'm trying to do foliage or take out trees or add a branch. Another trick that I have learned is when you're painting trees is to go ahead and just paint the whole, you can scrub in the tree and the foliage. And then once it's not, I mean, it would be better if it was dried, but it doesn't have to be. But then you go back in with sky holes and you paint your sky back into that tree instead of trying to paint each individual leaf. So that's a good one for students too, as the sky holes. And that's been really helpful for me too. When I go back into my palm trees later, I'm gonna go back in and try and put the sky back in.
Katie, we got another great question from Jessica. It says, are there any beginning exercises you recommend for students starting to oil paint? So brand new students, any basic exercises?
Yeah, I would, if I were to be starting with a student, I would do something that was simple, complementary colors, maybe just, one or two. I would do my best not to do too many colors at once. And so how about the inside of like a cut lemon or a cut orange? Have them draw the circle, the segments, maybe make it a little more oranger on the outside of the segments, and have the background be purple or something like this, where you can learn a little bit about how the paint moves. And also you can do some areas that are a darker, more opaque paint, like the outside of the segments of the orange. And then you can do a more translucent, choose a more translucent paint, oil paint in the inside segments of the orange. So you're getting to use different types of paints in terms of translucency and opacity. That's fun. And I think it's a good way to start without overwhelming a student. So that's an idea.
All right, thank you, Katie. Do we have any last minute questions? Or Barb, do you have anything you would like to add?
I have just really, really enjoyed this. I've learned so much, and thank you so much, Katie. I super appreciate it, and very inspiring. And you gave us some really practical tips. I think that's been helpful.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate being asked to come on here. I really do appreciate it. In fact, you know, it really is a part of ticking the boxes of my dream. I mean, I was an art teacher in Spain, and now I can say I was an art teacher in Italy, even though it's from afar with a lot of bad Wi-Fi connection. But you know, these are good moments for me too. Thank you so much, everybody. I look forward to meeting you too. I am coming back, so hopefully, you know, maybe next year I'll do another one. And I do have other ideas too. I love shrinky dinks. It's so fun. The best craft. It's the best art. It's so fast. Anyone can do it, and you can do all sorts of things with it, and it's cheap.
Yeah, especially if you have tons of sheets on Amazon that you can get in bulk. So yes, shrinky dinks are amazing.
They are, and they're not really messy. You know, you can get something done lickety split. If people want, like, I need a fundraising idea for the swim team, then you can say, okay, well, we'll just, you know, put these little tracing paper, you know, we'll put this shrink plastic on top, and we'll use Sharpies and have the kids color on it, cut it, put it in the little toaster, put a hole in it. Next.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of little things to make, keep your eye open. Each region around the state of Washington should be starting a pen party for the upcoming fall conference, where there will be a gathering where we create pens that we can exchange, and Shrinky Dinks is a great option to create those. When Shannon's like, I want to be there. Shannon might drive down to our region because I don't know where it is in her region, but we will make sure that we get that information out to you.
I was actually asking, were you saying pens or pins? Are you talking about like buttons? Or are you talking like pens?
Pins.
Buttons.
Like
PINS.
Yeah,
that was my face. And yes, I would drive anywhere to spend time with Barb and you, because you guys are awesome.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. We look forward to seeing you all at the fall conference. We are still accepting workshop presentations. And oh my gosh, could you imagine, Barb, somebody doing a plein air painting thing, but we sit inside, but we look outside at trees and stuff? Like, oh my gosh, let's do it. Andy, you're on. Let's talk. You're in the next room. She's right there. She's next to me. We're at school today working. So what else do I want to say about the fall conference? Buy your tickets. Buy your tickets now, please. Your fall planning committee is getting nervous whether you're going to show up or not. So please buy your tickets, and you'll be the first to know. I don't know if I can tell you if it's fair. I'll tell you because you came today. First 75 people that buy tickets are going to get a choice of limited edition WAEA swag, hats, aprons, or half aprons for free if you are the first 75 to sign up. So get into that bank account, give us no, never mind. Sorry. We don't need to go there. Okay, I'm done.
Katie, it was wonderful today. You're getting lots of accolades in the chat. I hope you're reading those. We really, really appreciated your sharing, and so glad that the Wi-Fi came back on.
So thankful. And please get your clock hour forms filled out as soon as possible so that I can get that to you right away. And I don't have to keep checking the form and make sure and I got everyone the days after. So I really appreciate you filling that out right now if you can. And Katie, as always, I appreciate you so much. I love the workshop.
Thank you. I'm so glad that the Wi-Fi came back on. Everybody, and ciao.
Okay, we'll sign off. Bye-bye.
Bye.